Alrighty, welcome to Supernatural Signals, My Haunted Journal edition. If you're new here, this is just my haunted journal where I casually yap about what's going on in my life, especially anything supernatural I'm experiencing. I also share channel updates, everyday life with my boyfriend, and thoughts on things in the media like true crime, though supernatural is usually the main focus. On this channel, you'll find three types of content: this haunted journal series, short mini mysteries, which you can find over at my shorts tab. I just dropped one the other day, and longer investigative deep dive videos. So if you're interested in any of those, please consider subscribing. All right, let's get into it. All right, so first I like to start off videos with just kind of updates on the channel, updates on entertainment stuff, which I do have a lot of updates on those because Kermie and I watched a lot of movies over the weekend. So I want to discuss those a bit and just like updates on the channel and things like that. And as always, I will have everything timestamped if you're not interested in video games and movies and things like that. So, starting off first, I am going to try and finish the first ending for Hollow Knight this week. I have 104%, so I'm very happy with that if you're into Hollow Knight and video games. Um, and so I was going to try and save like the quote unquote final boss because there's like another one. If you do another ending, it's this whole thing. But um, but I was just like, you know what? I just want to like complete him and stuff. And I thought, I don't know, I'm new to like video games and stuff. So I thought like I had to get certain things in order to make it easier to get 112%. But I'm just going to try and like end this part and then come back to Hollow Knight to 112% it later on. But I think it's good to kind of close the chapter on Hollow Knight. So I don't think I'll put any gameplay on this video, but I will probably do that a following haunted journal if people are interested in some of the bosses I've played recently. So yeah, I think the main things I have to do are the pantheons. I have to get the second part of the white fragment, where I have to get it from the grieving lady to the gravesite or whatever. And then yeah, I think that's mainly it. The get the last because I have all the charms besides that one, and then I have to do the pantheons. So we're getting there. But I think I'm just gonna fight the last boss and then call it a day, close out the game. I've been playing it for a long time and I'm happy with 104%. And then I still want to 112 it, but we'll get there. So that's going on with video games. Other things, updates on the channel before I get into some movies that I've been watching. Um, I I don't know if I'm going to switch my software. Normally what I use to make my like investigative videos as well as my short mini mysteries is ChatGPT, and then I use Groik or whatever they call it to make it into animation, like the stills of the videos into animation. And now they changed it. It was free and now it's no longer free, which is fine. Like I get it, it's their business or whatever, but it's $30 a month. And I'm not saying it's not a good investment for my channel. It's not so much that. It's just like, plus I do the upgraded with ChatGPT. So I'm just like, I don't think just getting those visuals are worth $30 a month. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what's worth it or not. And and I don't want to, and I'm the type of person like where I get like, oh, I got a free trial. And then I forget about the free trial. And then all of a sudden I'm paying like three different subscriptions for thingies that I don't need or don't use and things like that. So I'm trying to keep, especially when it comes to YouTube, because even though I don't get paid for YouTube technically, like I'm trying to build it to where I at least get some revenue or see where it takes me, or you know what I mean, and still enjoy it and build a community and things like that. And so I want to be like smart, I guess, ahead of time with like, okay, this is for works, well, YouTube stuff, I guess, and this is for this stuff and all that jazz. So I'm trying to figure out that is. I think I might use Adobe Firefly and try that. I did get a subscription for that, but Yeah, I just so that kind of like threw me off. So I'm gonna try. I still got my short out, which I was happy about, but I'm gonna just try and find something that works to animate things because it's also confusing because it's like I have to like jump from one software to another software. So I think if I just stick with Adobe, that'll be the best. I don't know. I just have to like figure it out and get through that because I don't know. It's again, it's not so much about like, oh, $30, but it's like I just don't want to get it all scatterbrained and be like, I use this for this and that and this and this. It just gets too confusing. So that is what I'm working on as far as the YouTube channel goes. I do need to do a longer investigative video, so I will start on that this week. Um, but yeah, I just dropped a short because that's what I felt like doing the other day. Um, Next, any life updates? Nothing major going on. I have some errands and adulting stuff to do. I have a couple work meetings that I need to get done. So we're kicking off some new projects. So that'll be fun. Um, and yeah, other than that, nothing too much exciting going on in my world or my boyfriend's world. But let's get into some of the stuff we've been watching. Oh, also, if I sound a little low energy, it's because I am. My cat decided to party last night. I don't know. And then, like, she likes to eat, like, early in the morning. If I don't feed her early in the morning, she screams. And then, like, when I feed her, then she feels like she's never going to get fed again and screams some more. And so, like, I'll wake up and be like, what do you want? And then she'll just stare at me and go, and, like, go back to bed. And I'm like, thing. So I'm a little tired. She's sitting on the pillow looking at me like audacity. um, but yeah, so she screamed the whole house yesterday. And then every time I woke up to see what was wrong, she was perfectly fine licking herself. So that's Kitty for you. She is my diva, and now she's licking her butt. So there you go. But even Buddy's tired. He didn't really want to go out this morning. It's kind of cold this morning. Like it's so weird, but it's like in the afternoons it'll be like 90, 85, and then in the mornings it's like burr, you need a jacket. So I kind of like it to have like the mornings to like cool down. If I need to take Buddy on a WLK I can and stuff like that, but it's just this weather is like all right, so let's get into some things I've been watching. If you follow my Instagram, I have been posting more like just random things I want to post. I was thinking about keeping my Instagram just like posting like shorts and keeping it with just like content heavy as far as like story based supernatural things, but I don't think I want to do that. I think I want to like just post things throughout my day. So I'll do probably like a weekend recap and like a week recap, like maybe like Thursday or Friday, and then like Sunday do a weekend recap or something like that with just posting a bunch of images. And then like randomly, if I feel like posting like things about movies or super sketchy or supernatural things, I will do that. So keep in mind, if you are into following Instagrams, I am changing that as well, just because I think it's more fun that way. So I probably will still post some shorts and stuff like that onto Instagram as well, like through Reels, but I also want to just post some images throughout my day. They're not very aesthetic, but I am not aesthetic. I don't think that'll ever be my branding. So just keep that in mind. That they're just random pictures that I like throughout the week and what I've been doing. Um, so if you saw that on Instagram, I watched a few movies this week, but the main movies I watched were Bodies, 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 and um Ready or Not, because the sequel's coming out. We're probably not going to go see that in theaters, but we did want to watch the first one because I never heard of it before. I don't know where I was in 2019, but it came out and it was really good. Like for a thrasher, movie like that, it was really, really good. Both Creamy and I thought it was excellent. Like the acting was so good. Everyone did such a good job. And it kind of reminded me just like the way they're running around. And I know this seems like probably a far stretch, but if you've ever seen the movie, oh, what's it called? Um, Sorry, I just had to pick up my DoorDash. But have you ever seen the movie Clue? Like the acting and the comedy style part of it, like obviously not like the stabbing and things like that, but like them running around the house and them just being like over the top and like thing. It really reminded me of Clue, and I love that movie. I think it's hilarious, and the acting was just so good. Like the it was hilarious. It had the action, it just I just really liked it. Like it fulfilled its purpose so freaking well, bro. Like I really want to see the second one. I'm obviously everyone knows sequels usually don't live up to the hype of the first one just because I think it's also just some like bias because it's like brand new and it's fresh and things like that. And so then you have high expectations, so it taints it a little bit, but I still am looking forward to that as well. Like I love Elijah Wood, and I think Sarah Michelle Gellar is in there as well. I want to double check. That's yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar. I just wanted to double check. I really like her. I really want to see Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I've never watched it, so that is something I'm considering watching as well. Um, but yeah, it was just so freaking good, dude. Like I'm surprised I've never heard of it before. Because that seems like a movie I would be interested in. But yeah, it was just really, 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 really well done. Like I said, like them running around with the big like bows and stuff like that, and then the guys like YouTubing how to use a crossbow, and like it just like and the girl that had like doing the white stuff, let's put it that way. Just like they were just all so good, and like the uh Samara Weaver, she did or Weaving, I'm sorry, Samara Weaving. She did such a freaking good job. Like I just loved her character. I just love how she was just like this and like she just like I don't know, she was just awesome. Yeah, so I really really liked it. I don't want to give too much spoilers, but the ending was so hilarious because like when they open the window, they're gonna like melt or whatever, and it doesn't happen, and they're just like, oh, and you know what that part reminds me of if you've seen it, where like they open the blinds and the whole family thinks they're gonna like blow up, and then I don't want to give too much spoilers because the ending's great, but like um it reminds me of Hocus Pocus when they like see like I don't know, I forget the scene, but they like think they're gonna melt or something like that. They're like, oh, and they're like, wait, we're fine. Like that's what it reminded me of. Like just like a little over the top acting, but not too much where it's cheesy. It was just I don't know. It just because it's like I'm feeling like I was talking to my boyfriend, and my boyfriend he knows of some well-to-do people, and like he's like baby it's not that far off of how some not all obviously right like just so depending everyone's so different and just depends on their situation, but he says you'd be surprised of how like the really well-to-do act, and I'm like you know. But obviously again not everyone, and just because like I don't know, like not saying people are doing cults because of that. That's not where I'm reaching. I'm just saying like or satanic cults, like you know what I mean. I'm just saying like just like the overtop and like the the thinking. It's just it's well done, and it just I don't know. It's freaking hilarious. One of my favorite parts is when she's like trying. She's like obviously like she's trying to run away from all of them, right? And so she like breaks through the fence, and she's like dripping in blood. Her hands like bleeding. She's a mess, and she's screaming for help. And this like fancy car comes by, and she's like, "Help!" And then the guy, she's like, "Get out of the road!" And she's like, "Fuck rich people!" Like, what is wrong with you? Like, it was just so good. Like, I really enjoyed it. If you can't tell, we also watched Bodies, and that was really good too. Like, it was really good. I really didn't like the girls. Like, I wanted to slap all of them, but I kind of think that was the point. um, if you haven't seen it, that movie is very good. It's kind of like these teens go to this mansion, and this like because they're all kind of like well to do, and this one girl, she's not well to do. She's a girlfriend of one of the girls there, and then they like and then like someone dies while they're playing a spooky game, and then they freak out, and then they end up killing a bunch of people because they freaked out. And then that plot twist at the end is really good. It's like they had no reason to freak out. I don't know. It's just You have to watch it. It's really good. Pete Davidson's in it. Like they all did a really good job. The girls were hilarious, but also like, oh my god, but like they did a good job of being like annoying. um but yeah, it was a really fun watch as well. So I recommend those two if you're looking for something fun but like funny and thing. And like I said, obviously I like bodies, 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 but Ready or Not, I don't know. I needed that type of movie. It was so good. And just like I don't just like I it just reminds me of Clue, and you just like I don't know how to explain it, but just like how they're running around to each house and like they're like scared and they're doing these things, and that's how they remind me of, where it's just like the black comedy humor, and it was really well done. So really recommend that. Okay, I just took a quick break to clean my Diva's kitty litter. That's all done. She monitored me, of course. She has been on her diva. Like Kitty goes through these phases of like, oh, I barely exist, don't mind me. Like, and then all of a sudden she's like, all right, I'm ready for my attention now. And that is what she's on. And honestly, I kind of love it. I kind of love it. And at the same time, I don't like being waking up at 3 a.m. That's okay. I just bought myself an energy drink. It's all good. Because I have stuff to do today. So, um, but I want to pivot to uh now Buddy wants to. Buddy, come here. My children. Come here, my boo. Hello. He's the best. But yes, so I wanted to discuss something. I don't know how much supernatural talk I am having, just for warning. There is updates with Buddy and the whole camera things that I've been talking about for a while. I'm going to save that for another video because I just don't think it really fits here. And again, I see if there's anything else that happens in between there. Um, but uh y'all. Okay. So Buddy is trying to lay on me. I'm like laying half on the bed, and Buddy is putting his head, like half his body on my lap and his other half is like on the ground. And Kitty just like went right up into his face and like stared him down. And Buddy just looked at me and was like, ooh. Kitty she's my little diva. She didn't like hiss at him or anything like that. She just like stared at him like, listen, buddy. Like, they're siblings, you can tell. But it's just so funny because Buddy is a 75-pound muscle dog. Like he's full of just muscle, and Kitty's this little petite thing. And Buddy is like, every time she stares at him, Buddy just like looks at me like, oh my god. And I just think the dynamic is hilarious. And she just like rolled down and just giving him a death glare right now. But anyway, you're my baby. You're my precious Buddy. Okay, continuing on. Not a lot of there are supernatural things to talk about. I just think I'm going to save it for another video. Because like I said, they're small things, and sometimes I think small things lead up to big things. But so I'll save that for another video where it makes more sense. So this is more talking about. Hang on, let me cuddle my dog 1 second. Okay, so this podcast is full of distractions. That is me. But yeah, so other than that, it's like a vlog too. You hear what I'm doing throughout the day, exchanging kitty litter and cuddling my dog. But I we did so not talking so much supernatural, but we did watch a documentary on Hulu about the Skylar Neese case. And if you're not familiar of it, it was more than 10 years ago. It happened in 2012 in the summer. In July. Basically, Skylar, she was a 16-year-old girl, and they lived in Star City. And she, was a typical 16-year-old girl, and she had two friends named Rachel Schoaf and Sheila Eddy. And basically, she went out with her friends, and then she just never came back. And she snuck out with her friends, so she didn't tell her parents, but she never came back. There was a huge investigation. Like, first, everyone thought her friends were the victims, and then it turns out her friends were the ones that actually ended her life. And the case was really interesting because I researched it a while back, but I think I probably watched it on a different show. But I researched it a while back, and there's a lot of like I guess this is like when Twitter was like really big, and so they were tweeting all their drama, and they were, they were tweeting about their days. Like, so there was a lot of like, I guess, I don't want to say evidence, but at least contextual clues of what was going on via social media, right? And so it was kind of really interesting to kind of see how things unraveled, especially when she was missing for so long, and then her friends were pretending to be like, "Oh, I miss you, Skylar," and like da 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 da, and like even her parents, like people that started suspecting Sheila and Rachel, even her parents like defended them, right? Like they were like, leave those girls alone. They've been through enough. They're missing their best friend. Like, and this was their only daughter. So they were like a mess. Like you could just tell every interview, like the dad looks like he's about to just cry. Like, you know what I mean? And this was a new documentary. Like it's still fresh for them. Like it's always going to be fresh for them. That's their baby girl, right? And so like imagine like you're defending her friends and they are the culprit, right? And it turns out, long story short, they do the investigation, but they don't have a lot of evidence. And I think they're like closing in on the two girls, but they just don't have the evidence to like confirm it. And then it turns out Rachel has this like breakdown of guilt, and then she confesses it. And so the girls get sentenced, and supposedly Rachel, since she did help get Sheila arrested and charged, they didn't even have a trial because there was so much freaking evidence on them. Um, she's gonna get out in like 2 years, which I don't know how the family feels about. I kind of have a little bit mixed feelings, but I understand why the family would want her in there for life. Um, and I also, it's like, it's hard because like you're 16, you're easily persuaded, and at least she confessed. Like there might have been a chance if she didn't confess, they wouldn't have enough evidence to like put them away because she did go undercover and get Sheila to kind of like talk about it. So that helped with the evidence as well and all that, right? So without her, there might have never been to charge anyone. But at the same time, without her, Skylar would still be alive, most likely. So, and it does seem Sheila was like the lead rigger, but it doesn't really matter. Like she's getting out early in 2026, and Sheila, I think, is just gone for life. I think she's up for parole and um in like 10 years or something like that, 10-15 years. But usually that doesn't work out. So I think Sheila is where she needs to be. I think there's something wrong with her. Like as she was getting arrested, she was like asking about how if she was going to make her hair appointment. Like that's how she doesn't understand the actions to her consequences. And you can argue, yeah, because their brains aren't developed yet, and they're so young, and blah blah blah, and they just don't see the bigger picture. But there's a difference between like driving really fast in the neighborhood, or doing drugs and experimenting that way, or having unprotected sex versus murdering your best friend, right? And it turns out, and for a long time, they never really gave a reason. I know when I was researching the case a while back, they kind of had that speculation that Sheila and Rachel were having a romantic relationship, and there was teenage drama, and Skylar was mad at them because they weren't treating her well, and so she was threatening on Twitter that she was going to expose it all. And maybe they were a small town family, small town life, and I know Rachel's family was super religious. Um, and maybe they were scared that that was going to be exposed, right? And so that was the reasoning. I don't think Sheila too much really gave a crap. I think Rachel, I have a feeling maybe Sheila wanted it to happen for another reason, and then she maybe used that religious aspect to get Rachel on board. I don't know, but it kind of goes back to the concept of like, I don't know, because like I said, the supernatural, whether it really be like actual real be, whether it really be like supernatural based, where it's actually ghosts involved, or spirits, or crypts, or whatever, cryptids, or whatever you want to call it, and you're just supernatural journey, right? Where you're just like figuring things out about yourself, figuring out what you're able to do mentally, physically, all these things in your life, in your journey, right? And I think sometimes, like I said a million times, the supernatural will like draw you things to connect, right? And I think this is a perfect example because sporadically I made that short recently about a bus that comes at you, and then it like vanishes, right? So you're driving down the road, also you see this like huge bus going straight at you, and before it hits you, it just like vanishes, and you're like, where'd the bus go? And you swerve into a wall, you get in a car accident because you're scared of the bus, but nothing happens, right? And then I watched Bodies, which I talked about earlier, and all these girls and guys like freak out because they think someone was murdered, and then they, because of their freaking out, they do all this damage to other people, and other people die, and all this crap happens. But there was no reason for it, right? Because then they find out how the original person passes away, and they're like, oh, well, dang, like, you know what I mean? And then at the same time, there's also um you know the recent movie I watched, what was, I already forgot, this is how my brain works. Ready or Not, where like they at, if you watch the full movie, it's not exactly like that, but during it, they think they're gonna explode, and they're freaking out, and they're doing all this crap, and then they're like, wait a minute, we didn't even explode, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that type of content where it's like you're freaking out for like no reason, right? And sometimes there is a reason, but if you're doing bad things, but like, you know just like Sheila and Rachel did bad things. Rachel should have had the breakdown because she killed her best friend. But on the other hand, she probably had no reason to freak out about her relationship with her, because it's like, you're 16, 2 years, you're going to be 18, right? Like, and if your mother doesn't agree with your lifestyle, then that's her problem, right? That's not your problem. And I know it affects you, so it's hard to say it's not your problem, and it affects you in a horrible way, but at the same time, it's not worth taking it out on someone else, right? We all know that, right? Anyone with half a brain cell understands that, right? But it just kind of like, and then we watched another documentary. We watched a lot of stuff this weekend, if you can't tell, but we watched another documentary, and it was about the two people that tried to emulate Scream back in 2006, where they killed a classmate and they recorded it, and they thought they were going to make this video, and like they were teens and all that stuff. Well, it turns out at the end of the video, a guy confesses, one of the killers confesses that again he was gay, and back then it just wasn't accepted. And even the mom of him was like, she's like, well, now it doesn't bother me. Like, now I could care less. But she's like, yeah, back then I'd probably have issues with it, just because, I want to protect my son. She said some jargon. It shouldn't matter at all. That should be like, in my opinion, that's stupid. Like, that should have been like, why, like, no kid should feel uncomfortable saying who they love, right? Love is not a bad thing. I will never have that debate with you. Like, like, and but I think he was having issues with it, and he was holding it in. And it just kind of shows with all those context things where it's like people manifest things into such a big deal, and then it just vanishes, and it was just one small part of your life. But if you go in and you react the way some of these people reacted, you make it into this 10 times bigger deal than it has to be, right? Like, you didn't do anything wrong with being gay. You did something wrong with killing someone. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? But being gay and who you are, you didn't do anything wrong. Like, and I have a lot of problems in my life of feeling guilt of just existing. And sometimes my boyfriend, not test me, but like he'll like, you know, my boyfriend is a unique character. And like, and sometimes like if I'm complaining about something or I'm worried about something, and I'll say something like, oh, like, I shouldn't have done this. I feel so bad, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, once in a while, he'll be like, yeah, you shouldn't have. And I was like, yeah. And then he'll kind of go over the top with it because I'll be in my feelings about something. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, wait, no, you're being an asshole. Like, I'll be like, no, like, I like start defending myself then. Cause I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm like, no, like, okay, yeah, maybe I like should have done this, but you know what I mean? And I think, and then he like looks at me and he's like, yeah, because you didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean? And it's like, and he just kind of like switches it back to that sense of like, yeah, you should be defending yourself because you didn't do anything wrong, right? Like, so don't defend yourself if there's nothing to defend, right? Because defending becomes actions, right? And you could, one of my friends, HG, like I said, he's kind of like a father figure to me. He's like, one of the things he's like, you could have all the thoughts in the world, right? You could, that's how you analyze the world, that's how you analyze people, that's how you analyze situations. You could have thoughts. It's not bad to have thoughts. It's those actions that you put with those thoughts, right? And sometimes me being a worrier, I'll be like digging through things. It's like everyone does the doom scroll. You know, you sneeze, all of a sudden you think you have brain cancer and just manifests. So then you go to the doctor. The doctor's like, well, maybe you do have cancer. Let's do these tests because we need to open another practice. And so you're paying for these MRIs. And obviously there's a situation for that if you do have, you know what I'm saying? But like it just small, it just keeps going, 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 going. And all of a sudden you're in this cycle of $10,000 in debt for a cough, right? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, crap. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I just think that's an interesting concept. I don't have anything deep or thing, but I think next time you take an action, or for myself, sorry if you hear Kitty, she wants to go on her tree. I have to go put her in her tree in a minute. But it it definitely it definitely made me look at actions versus thoughts, because sometimes I'll even feel guilty for having thoughts. Like I will have thoughts being like, not so much anymore just because of what I realize there's so much more to worry about than stupid things. But once in a while, I'll be like, oh, that girl maybe shouldn't wear that top. Or that guy, the relationship doesn't seem like a normal stereotypical relationship. Like, everyone has those thoughts, and I think as you go on your journey, it gets less and less and less because you realize that's not what I'm worried about, right? But you're still human. You still have those thoughts. And sometimes I will beat myself up about it. So does Kirby. But then you look at it, it's like you didn't do anything. You didn't put any action to it. You didn't hurt anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're okay to have those thoughts, but it's the actions that you do that can make it 10 times worse than what it was, right? Like I said, there was nothing wrong with Rachel and Sheila having a relationship. There was nothing wrong because society will make you feel guilty for it, right? And so you feel guilty, so you lash out, right? Or you hide away, or you're overweight, so you feel guilty that you can't eat the cupcake. And we've been through all that, right? Like we know all this. It's the actions that you take with those thoughts, right? And I think what happens for me anyway is like you stop the actions, and then once you stop the actions, the thoughts don't aren't on your mind anymore, right? They disappear, right? It's all psychological. Um, but I know that came thing, but again, that just again proves how the universe will just be like, here's all this content about kind of the same thing that you're going to watch in one weekend, and then you're like, oh, and this is what I was going through my journey. Because again, if you're someone with anxiety and someone that maybe didn't feel like you belonged anywhere, I have that problem so bad sometimes. It's like I said, it's getting better, but you have that problem where you're just like, I just feel guilty for like, just having proof of life that I'm here, right? Like, like it's just thing. So I don't know. And yeah, so I hope someone got something out of this. But yeah, I think I'm gonna close that out. Like I said, I'll have more supernatural stuff either later on this week or early next week. But I hope everyone had a great weekend, and thank you for listening. And as always, stay curious and stay tuned into the supernatural. Thanks for watching.